all, let me tell you something. Today, everyone is completely obsessed with these fancy analytics, those little computer charts and spreadsheets. They want to sit behind screens, crunching numbers and telling you who is great. But listen, at 54 years old now, after all these years of taking beatings under the rim and breaking backboards, I can tell you that real greatness, it cannot be computed. You see, those modern kids, they want to run around the perimeter, shooting soft three-pointers, hugging each other after the game, like it is some kind of summer camp. But back in my days, if you stepped into my paint, you were stepping into a war zone, a place of real pain. Boom, just like that. It was about absolute dominance, about who would back down first. Now look, people always ask me about the greatest players I ever faced, the ones who really earned my respect. And let me be honest, some of these names might shock you. The media does not know what it actually feels like to go to battle under that rim. You might ask, why would the most dominant Diesel, a guy with 4 championship rings, bow down to an opponent who absolutely embarrassed him? Or why would I invent a fake rumor, a complete lie for 10 long years, just to motivate myself to play against a man who was simply too nice? The real thing is, these 5 giants, they did not play for the cameras. They played for absolute keeps under that rim. They did not just challenge my physical strength. They tested my very soul. So let me take you back to the golden era and show you the 5 greatest players this big Aristotle ever saw on that hardwood. These are the warriors who shaped my destiny. 1, Michael Jordan. Let us kick things off with the very pinnacle, the emperor himself, Michael Jordan. Let me tell you something. Before my rookie year, I thought I was the baddest thing on 2 feet. I was big. I was strong and ready to tear the rims down and dominate the entire league like a wild beast. But listen, when I saw number 23 standing across from me for the first time, I felt real, cold, bone-deep fear. No disrespect to any other player. But Michael was not just a basketball player. He was a spiritual presence, an aura that would literally suffocate you before the tip-off even started. Now look, we had our battles, but by 1996, when we met in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Bulls were on a completely different mission. They were an absolute juggernaut, and we were just young guys trying to find our way. In Game 4, they swept us 4-0, just wiped us off the map, boom, just like that. And let me be honest, during that series, I was absolutely petrified to block his shots. I was terrified that he would dunk over my giant head and posterize me, and the media would never let me live it down. But the real story, the one that changed my life, happened after the final buzzer in that dark, quiet hallway. I was sitting there, head in my hands, and completely crushed. Suddenly, Michael, my big fraternity brother, walked up, put his hand on my shoulder, and looked me dead in the eye. He did not talk trash. He did not gloat. He just said, before you succeed, you must first learn how to fail. At the end of the day, I had no idea what that actually meant back then. It sounded like some crazy riddle, but listen, When I got to Los Angeles and we struggled year after year, getting swept, getting beat, those words, they kept ringing in my head like a bell. I finally understood you must fall down before you can stand up as a champion. Michael did not just sweep me, he baptized me in failure, and that is what made me the Diesel. 2, Hakeem Olajuwon. But as terrifying as Michael was, there was another mountain I had to climb. A man whose calmness under the rim was even more deadly. That was number 2, the great Hakeem Olajuwon. First of all, if you went up against the Diesel, you were in for a physical beatdown under that rim. I wanted to look you in the eyes, talk some heavy trash, and break your spirit before the game even started. But listen, when I stood under the rim against Hakeem, none of that garbage worked. No disrespect, but Hakeem, he was the only superstar that I could never, ever shake up mentally with my trash talk. I would look at him and throw a hard elbow right in his face, but he would just look back with this peaceful, almost holy look, and then go down and score. And oh my God, those feet. You see, his footwork was like nothing this league had ever seen before or will ever see again. He did not play like a normal giant. He danced under that rim. He would hit me with that dream shake. Boom. Spin one way. Fake the other. And before I could even turn my massive body around, the ball was already in the bottom of the net. And I was just standing there looking stupid. In 1995, we met him in the NBA Finals. I was young and cocky, but Hakeem absolutely embarrassed me, sweeping us 4-0. Just a complete demolition. But let me tell you about the real moment, the stuff you never see on television. After Game 4, my young heart was completely broken. My pride shattered in pieces. And I was just sitting in the darkness of the hallway, hiding from the cameras and the media. Hakeem, instead of celebrating with his team, walked away from the champagne, came over to me in that quiet hallway, and wrapped his giant arms around me. He looked at me with no malice and whispered, "You played a great series, young fella. Do not hang your head. Your time is coming soon." At the end of the day, that was the moment Hakeem became a god to me. He did not just beat me. He showed me what a real king looks like. 3, Yao Ming. Then a new force arrived from across the ocean. Let us get into number 3, the giant from China, Yao Ming. Before Yao came into this league in 2003, nobody could stand in front of the Diesel. I was absolute muscle, a physical monster, and did not think some kid from across the world could match my strength. But listen, our very first matchup in January of 2003 at the Toyota Center, Yao showed me something I had never experienced. First play of the game, I try a finger roll, boom, blocked. Next play, I try a turnaround hook, boom, blocked. Third play, I go up with all my power for a monster dunk, boom, blocked again. 3 times in a row, the same giant, just standing there, swatting my shots like flies. I had to stop, look at him, and think, who the hell is this guy? Yao was not just tall, he was like my favorite convenience store, 7-Eleven, an absolute mountain of a man. but he had this incredibly soft touch and foot speed that a guy that size should never have. For 3 long years, I never said a single word to Yao because I truly believed there was a massive language barrier. I thought he did not speak a single word of English. Then, in one of our battles, he hit me with this beautiful Hakeem Olajuwon fadeaway jumper right over my face. I looked at him and said, "Hey Yao, nice move." And this giant, he looks me right in the eye, smiles, and says, "Thanks, my brother." I stopped dead in my tracks. My jaw hit the floor. I said, wait a minute. You speak English? And Yao, he just laughs and says, "Shaq, you never talk to me." Of course I speak English. At the end of the day, we became the closest of friends. When I found out that he used to write me letters from China when he was just a kid, letters that got lost in the mail, it absolutely melted my heart. No disrespect to any other rivalry, but our battle became something beautiful. When we walked into the Hall of Fame together in 2016 as brothers, I knew Yao was one of the greatest I ever saw. 4, David Robinson. That brings me to number 4, the Admiral, David Robinson. David was the perfect specimen. He stood 7'1" with a body carved out of solid marble and could run like a small forward. He was a Navy lieutenant, a true patriot, and just a saintly human being. That was my exact problem with him. To get into that dark, angry diesel mode, I had to hate the guy standing across from me. I wanted to destroy you. But David, oh, he was just too damn nice. Always smiling, always saying, "Hey Shaq, how's your family doing, my brother?" How the hell am I supposed to get mad at a guy like that? So let me reveal a real dirty trick I played on myself when I was a young superstar. I went to the media and told them this story. I said that when I was 15 years old, a poor kid in San Antonio, I waited in line for hours just to get David Robinson's autograph. And when I finally reached him, he coldly snubbed me. I told the world that I used that memory as fuel to punish him under the rim. But listen, let me tell you the absolute truth. It was a complete lie. I made the entire thing up. I had to create a fake villain, a false narrative, just to muster up enough anger to go to war against him. And we did that anger backfire in 1994. We were neck and neck for the scoring title. And on the last day of the season, David went out and dropped 71 points. Just a masterpiece of a game, and snatched that scoring trophy right out of my hands. He did not talk trash. He just let his game do the talking. At the end of the day, after I retired, I had to call him up and apologize. I told him, "David, I had to make up that rumor just to get mad at you because you were too nice." And you know what he did? He just laughed that warm, classy gentleman's laugh and said, "I know, Shaq. I always knew." That is the power of David Robinson. He never let my immaturity break his class. And that is why he is a true legend. 5, Patrick Ewing. Let us talk about number 5, my childhood idol, Patrick Ewing. Before I even dreamed of entering the NBA, Patrick was the man I wanted to be. But listen, when I finally rolled into Madison Square Garden in 1992, as a cocky young rookie, Patrick gave me the ultimate New York welcome. We were battling under that rim, and boom, he hit me with a hard, brutal elbow right in my ribs. I felt something crack, and let me tell you, it hurt to even breathe. It was my very first real taste of how brutal the paint could be in this league. I wanted to fight him. I wanted to Show this veteran that the Diesel does not back down from anyone. But look what happened after the final buzzer when the cameras were completely gone. That is what made me respect him forever. I was walking down that dark, quiet hallway, trying to hide the pain. Suddenly, Patrick walks up, hands me a cold bottle of water, and looks at me with this serious, big brother face. He did not talk trash. He just looked me in the eye and said, "You are a strong fella, but you have got to protect those knees under there. You hear me?" No disrespect to any of these modern guys, but that thuggish New York warrior off camera, he was looking out for a kid. At the end of the day, Patrick taught me that you can go to absolute war on the hardwood, but still carry yourself with real honor and brotherhood. He is, and always will be, a true king under that rim. So, at the end of the day, now that I am 54 years old and my giant body has finally slowed down, I look back at my journey and realize something deeply profound. You see, those 4 championship rings on my fingers, they are beautiful. They really are. But listen, let me tell you something. Those heavy pieces of metal, they do not define my legacy. Real greatness, the kind that actually lasts. It is not about the numbers on a stat sheet or some computer algorithms. It is about the absolute respect of the brothers who went to war with you, those who stood in the fire under that rim and never backed down. No disrespect to the modern game, but they just do not make men like Hakeem, Michael, Yao, David, or Patrick anymore. Those 5 giants, they defined a golden age of physical and mental warfare under that rim. We fought like absolute gladiators. We traded sweat and blood under that rim, and we earned every single bruise on our bodies. You had to have that old school grit to survive that golden era, that beautiful, brutal brotherhood. It is gone forever now. But those of us who survived, we will always carry those scars of honor as a badge. At 54 years old now, that is the absolute truth. And the only statistic that truly matters.
Shaquille O'Neal is opening up about the 5 rivals who shaped his legendary career, and the stories behind them are turning heads. First up is Michael Jordan, the man who struck real fear into Shaq even before his rookie season began. And after getting swept in the 1996 Eastern Conference Finals, Jordan pulled him aside and told him something that changed his entire career: that you have to learn how to fail before you can ever succeed. Next comes Hakeem Olajuwon, whose footwork and signature dream shake left Shaq completely embarrassed during the 1995 Finals sweep, though Olajuwon later consoled him in a quiet hallway with words Shaq says he's never forgotten. Then there's Yao Ming, who blocked 3 of Shaq's shots in their very first matchup. And for years, Shaq assumed Yao didn't speak English, until Yao casually fired back a perfect English compliment that sparked a friendship lasting all the way to their joint Hall of Fame induction. The most surprising confession involves David Robinson, with Shaq admitting he fabricated an entire story just to manufacture enough anger to compete against him, though Robinson still dropped 71 points in 1994 to steal the scoring title away without ever trash-talking. And rounding it out is Patrick Ewing, Shaq's childhood idol, who delivered a brutal welcome to the league elbow as a rookie, but later handed him water in a hallway and warned him to protect his knees. Shaq says real greatness was never about the rings. It was about the respect earned from the men who battled beside him.